Hey everyone, it's Jack here, TalkNorwichCity. Welcome back to another video. After what feels like an eternity, the search for the next Norwich City head coach looks to be over. Liam Manning set to be unveiled as the next head coach of the Canaries after a fairly lengthy process post-sacking of Johannes Torp. We, of course, had Jack Wilshere as interim head coach. I think most people thought that he would be named permanent head coach of Norwich City. That wasn't to be, and we've been on a couple of week journey since that point with multiple names linked over that period. But Liam Manning seems to be the front runner and to be unveiled very soon. Nick Mashter of the BBC put Norwich City are poised to appoint Bristol City boss Liam Manning as new head coach. No official approach has been made, but one is expected in the next 24 hours, with the Canaries ready to pay Norwich-born Manning's release clause. That looks to be £800,000. His backroom staff also have links to East Anglia, with Chris Hogg having worked at Ipswich, and first-team analyst James Krause coming through the ranks at the Tractor Boys. It's early, forgive me. The draw to go back to the area has been strong, despite Manning leading Bristol City to 6th in the Championship, losing in the playoff semi-finals to Sheffield United. Manning, 39, joined the Robins from Oxford in November 2023, having previously managed MK Dons and Lommel in Belgium. Former Wolves boss Gary O'Neill and ex-assistant Pep Linders were also spoken to and considered by the Canaries. There we go. Liam Manning and his backroom team set to be unveiled at Norwich City. Few points to get through here. We've discussed Liam Manning at length on the channel. He was one of the early names that was being thrown around. He wasn't, I don't think, on that very early short list of names that included Russell Martin and Steve Cooper, etc. But he has been the name that is stuck over the last few weeks, and not many have. Of the two mentioned there, aside from Liam Manning, Pep Linders and Gary O'Neill. Pep Linders felt like one that could happen, but he felt inexperienced and actually very similar to Johannes Torp in many ways. And Gary O'Neill, well, I mean, we sounded him out by the looks of things, but chose to go elsewhere, and I don't think that's the worst decision. I'm fairly upbeat about this. I've been, talking at length to friends and people about, where we go from here as a football club, and I think that shortlist was relatively uninspiring. I think what we also have to figure is, we are a mid-table Championship side as it stands. We've just finished 13th in the division. We will be losing Sainz, Sargent, maybe Nunez. It's a proper squad rebuild over the summer, and that is a daunting task for a head coach to come in. As well as that, you've just seen a manager in Johannes Torp who I think many expected here to be for the long haul and build a project, be sacked for underperforming. I'm not saying it was just because we were 13th in the division, but managers will be looking at that going, "Oh, that's a proper rebuild, and if I'm only allowed 10 months to do so, then that's a big jump to take." With all of that being considered, Liam Manning is an up and coming EFL manager who has done good things at every single club he's been at: MK Dons, Oxford, and most recently Bristol City. There are many things to like about Liam Manning. Aside from Liam Manning, I like that he's bringing his backroom team in. I think that was a real key point of contention in the end for Johannes, that he felt exposed. He felt maybe not supported is the wrong way to put it, but he felt like he needed more help out there. And I think that was partly due to him. That was probably a part oversight on Ben Napper. It felt like that kept being talked about from Johannes in the Danish press. And Ben Napper in interviews since, that he wishes that he'd have brought more staff with him and coaches that he's worked with before. In Chris Hogg and in James Krause, they have worked with Manning at every club. They've been at first team coach in Chris Hogg and first team analyst in James Krause. So he has a team, he has a way of working, he has his people, he has his structure. They're all being brought in, which feels good. The compensation point ended up not being an issue. We kind of knew about that. £800,000, it's a lot of money. Managerial mistakes get very expensive. You're paying off the manager under contract, and you're also having to lure someone away from a contract if they've got a job, and so you're being kind of hit twice with that. in the grand scheme of things, though, when you compare it to player trading and the cost around that, this is a drop in the ocean for a club like Norwich City in the Championship. So it was good that was never an issue, and it shows ambition from the football club that they were willing to take a manager, a highly rated manager, away from the club that he's just done really good things at. I suspect if you're a Bristol City fan, you're going, bloody hell, Manning, like you've just got a team in the playoffs, chances of playoffs again next season, and you're moving to a team in 13th. Like, what's all that about? I think Manning will be seeing this as a project. I think he'll be seeing this as, solid infrastructure, talented players, coming back to the area that he's very used to alongside his two members of staff. So that's obviously going to have an appeal. Coming home, he was a Norwich City season ticket holder as a younger child. I think he said that he's not a Norwich City fan. I think he said he's a Manchester United fan. That the rumours that he was an Ipswich Town fan, I think, have been debunked. But they've all got links to Ipswich. That doesn't really matter at this stage. They're now Norwich City men, and hopefully they'll be doing really good things here. I think Manning is. Look, I think he's very principle driven. I think he'll demand standards and certain behaviours out of his players, and I don't think we sometimes saw that from Johannes Torp. That ultimately was one of the points that probably let him down. There was discipline issues. They ultimately weren't trying at points in the season. I think that's fairly obvious now that we look back. I don't think that will be expected. That will be demanded under Liam Manning that standards are met. So there's, he's incredibly principle driven. There's a real emphasis on player development, and that's important. Not only for the likes of Ante Cianat and Mate Jurisic, where considerable money has been spent. They will need to be developed and kind of fleshed out to get real value from that. You're also looking at the younger players, and I'm looking at Callum Fisher and Lucio Mahavo and players like that who have real potential and need to be bedded in even further. So that was a key point. The playing style, whenever I watched Bristol City last season, was quite adaptable, which is nice. It felt like under Johannes we either kind of had Hofball or nothing, and that was frustrating. I don't think when I watch a Manning side, I'm like, that's a style that I know that's a Liam Manning side, but it is adaptable and it is effective. Every time I watched Bristol City last season, I was impressed. They had a good core of players and they found a way, and ultimately they overachieved, I think, to get into the playoffs. I think Norwich City, and I don't think Bristol City fans will mind me saying this, I think Norwich had a better squad than they did last season, and we finished 7 places below them. So Liam Manning, set to be the man to lead Norwich City in the Championship this season. It feels somewhat settling to know who we've got and who will be taking us forwards. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. I know that there was a lot of people just not wanting Gary O'Neill for whatever reason, and the same with Pep Linders. I think I saw fairly unanimous support for Liam Manning, so it'd be good to hear what you're thinking now that this news has firmed up a little bit. Expect an official announcement maybe already by the time this video has gone out, but certainly within the next couple of days, and then we can have some more discussions around where we go from here. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.